You have experience coaching guys like Cam Newton and then Kyler Murray, most recently in Arizona. How would you compare Anthony Richardson's play style to other mobile quarterbacks that you've coached in the past?
You know, they're different, but there are some similarities. The fact that kind of opens up your playbook where they can run and you know, they can also drop back and you can get them on the edge. But you know, as far as that, we just got to find out what his strengths are and then be able to cater it to them.
When you're tailoring a playbook, you've got a guy like Gardner who's a veteran who he always takes what the defense gives him a lot of the time, and then you've got Anthony who, you know, you kind of want to just show him, you know, everything. How do you balance that when it comes to the playbook and things like that? Because I'm sure the size of the playbook kind of shrinks when you got a rookie there.
Right. Well, right now, I mean, during training camp, our goal is literally just lay the foundation of the offense. Let's get all of our base concepts installed, run, repped over and over again until we start learning it before we start catering, you know, specifics.
Yeah.
We'll get there, but our goal right now is just let's learn the foundation of this offense.
Did you guys map out how you wanted to do the reps for the quarterbacks before camp started, or is it kind of a day-by-day decision on who goes first, who goes second?
We had a good idea of, you know, going into camp how we wanted to do it, and obviously things will be adjusted as needed, but we did have a starting point.
Cam, what will tell you from your eye that Richardson's making the progress you need to see? Is it any little things or big things or what?
It's really just not making the same mistake twice. Once he makes it, you know, kind of growing from it, and the next time you see him correct it, that's when you kind of know, all right, he's got it.
Because he will make mistakes.
Of course, they all will. They all will, but the key is just he can identify it, recognize it, and then get it corrected.
Richardson's been talked about always being nose in the book, always asking questions. How does he compare with all the other quarterbacks you've coached as far as wanting to be in the books and studying and be prepared?
I mean, I don't want to compare anyone, but you're right on. He's been focused in his books, studying, and he's all in on it, which gets us excited, you know, and it's fun to work with.
How does that give him an advantage going into a rookie season where he might not even start week one?
I mean, just being prepared, you know, which is one of our big things, and as long as he's prepared, whether he's starting or not, he's going to have to be prepared just to learn it and go into a game and execute.
He's mentioned he kind of bugs you guys a little bit. I was always asking you, texting you questions. What's that been like for, you know, a rookie?
I don't call it bugging. I love it. Makes me fired up. But he's calling us, texting us, asking questions, and you know, you can tell he's been studying all summer. You know, he didn't just go on vacation for 5 weeks off, but he's been in his book working.
How much of an advantage is it that Gardner and Anthony did some work in Florida in the off season with the receivers? How does that help grand scheme of things when it comes to training camp?
I think it's a huge help just to get those guys together, some camaraderie, and just building it on their end, not with coaches here, you know, just on their own, and just going out on their own and doing it and kind of figuring it out.
Did you encourage that at all?
No, they just did it on their own. Just left it up to them.
Usually when there's competition for a starting spot, things can get really hectic and there could be a lot of tension. It doesn't seem like to be the case in the quarterback room. How nice has it been being able to see that the quarterbacks are getting along and being friendly with one another while still competing?
It's huge. I mean, for those guys to be able to help each other, you know, Gardner, who's been in the system, you know, helping Sam, helping Anthony, helping myself when I have questions about how they did it in the past. It's been huge, just the atmosphere and just the environment we have. And it's competitive, yes, but it's also, you know, everyone's helping each other.
I saw you you were one of the sliding defensive backs in that little red zone throwing thing where you guys kind of slide one way or the other and then fire it in. Do you kind of like to get hands-on like that?
I'm trying to give him a read as best I can. It's not a good one, but just, you know, just trying to give him a read and something to look at instead of just throwing footballs on air. Yep.
Is that kind of a, I don't know, from a drill perspective, just kind of part of your philosophy, just trying to give them something? Because it feels like you guys have had targets up, a lot of different things that, in terms of rather than just routes on air.
Everything I like to do, I try to simulate a game as much as possible. Obviously, each drill has an objective, you know, but we try to make it game-like, you know, so we're not just throwing on air where there's no defenders or no looks where they have to react.
Thanks, Coach.
That's it?
So I got one more.
What you got?
Sorry if it's
No, you're good.
asked,
You're good.
what you think of just Anthony Richardson's first day? And just, I asked Jim about this too. he asks a lot of questions. He said he wants to know like everything tomorrow. But how do you find that balance between challenging him but make sure you're not burying him?
Right. Go back to the first one. I thought his first day was good. Obviously we're in the red zone, so kind of limits what you're running. Whole playbook's not open, but he did a good job executing and recalling from certain plays that we installed this spring. But I thought he was good. He looked comfortable. He had a confidence about him. So I thought he looked good.
What's his?
Two-part deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just the balance between challenging him, making sure it's not overwhelming to the point where it's
Right. No, and I think you definitely want to challenge him, but there's a fine line of force feeding him where it's too much, which we can kind of gauge that on practice and in meetings, the questions he's asking and the questions we're asking him, kind of gauge it that way. But up to this point, he's been fine. I mean, he's picking up really well and he's put a lot of work in.
What's his communication style like? Like when he is asking all of those questions, as James mentioned, like is that in person? Is that texting you? Like what's your contact been like with him? I guess like regarding like football questions.
It's all the above. Asking a lot of questions in the meeting, in person, after the meeting. Staying back, asking questions, walking through the halls, asking questions as we're walking down to the team meeting, and then text calls. So he has good ones too. They're not just generic questions. He has good ones.